When I made the shed ventilation window some months ago, I needed some strips to make the project. And I made those strips out of this thick plank. I need 95 centimeters long strips, and the distance from the end to this knot is 98 centimeters. And I also need 70 centimeters long strips. So in this side I will cut a piece 75 centimeters long. I mark where to cut, I clamp the plank, and I cut the pieces. Now I will cut 3.2 centimeters thick strips, so they will be around 3 centimeters thick after I plane them. All the faces of this plank are already planed, so I will always put a planed face against the tables of ends. That way I make sure all the strips will be the same thick. And I do the same with the other piece I had cut from the original plank. Now, after cutting the 3.2 centimeters thick strips, I still have these pieces, and I will use them to cut 5.4 centimeters wide pieces. I am sure you already noticed there is a lot of sawdust in the air. This saw expels a lot of sawdust, and because there is a spotlight behind the video camera, the sawdust reflects the light. Actually, I don't have a clean air system. And I still have some thin strips that I will use to make some 1.9 centimeters square section strips. Now these are the 5.4 centimeters wide pieces I've cut before, and the thick of this piece is the thick of the original plank, about 4.5 centimeters. This face and the face on the tabletop are the faces I've cut before. This face and the face I'll put against the fence are the original planed faces of the plank, and I want to cut them in two. The disc eliminates 3 mm, so 4.5 minus 0.3 is equal to 4.2 centimeters. 1/2 is 2.1 centimeters, but I will cut them 2 centimeters thick, just to make sure I can get two identical strips. Now I can go over the part I have to the left of the disc. I put the planed face against the fence and I cut it, so now both strips are identical. And I do the same with the other 5.4 by 4.5 piece. I have to cut these pieces in two passes, and the truth is that I should move down the height of cut of the disc. Like this, because I cut both pieces with the planed face against the fence, both strips are identical. So now I have all the strips I need, and I can plane them. First I will plane the cut in the wider face of the 5.4 by 2 strips. Now I set the planer and I joined one edge of those strips. And now I set the planer to join the other edge. Finally, the dimensions of these strips are 5 cm wide by 1.9 cm thick. Now these are the first strips I've cut from the thick plank. They already have 3 planed faces, so I only have to plane one face of these strips. And I still have to plane these thin strips. These have two planed faces, one at 90 degrees with the other. They are not exactly square section strips. So first I plane the thickness section. Now my idea was to set only the mobile base of the planer, to plane the thick part of the strip, to get a perfectly square section. But I can't, because I didn't realize that the base was almost fully open. So I have to set the fence position to plane that face of the strips. Now I measure which is the thickness part of the strips. And I set the fence so the distance between the fixed base of the plane and the fence is equal to that smallest dimension of the strips. Like this, the thickness dimension of the strips enters between the fence and the fixed base of the plane. But if I turn the strips 90 degrees, they don't enter. So I plane the strips. And I get perfectly square section strips. Now I could keep planing the strips until they are the exact dimensions I might need. But these dimensions were okay to make the shed ventilation window. Sometimes the important is that if some strips must be identical, they are identical. It doesn't matter the exact dimensions. Thanks for watching. If you think this video is interesting, don't forget to click like and share. And if you like my videos, thanks for subscribing to my channel.